Hi guys, and welcome to another 6-minute guide by I Like Him. Today we're going to be going over empire building. When you start up your empire, this is the screen that you'll be looking at. These are the ones that ultimately don't matter what you pick, so we're not going to be going over those whatsoever. The ones that we want to look at are the bottom one that says government and ethics, and the one on the top that says traits. First, we're going to start with that ethics one because it is by far the most important one. The ethics dictates your influence spending, your building, and your diplomacy. Depending on which one you pick, you get different type of buildings, you get different types of civics. People treat you differently, and you're going to be focusing your influence on different spots. You can't have a militaristic, peaceful person, so you can't pick the ones that are across from each other. So if you look on the one that's straight up, it's militarist, the one on the bottom is peaceful. You can't have both of them. The deeper you go, the more efficient you get. 1 point will give you 10%, 2 points will give you 30%, or 1 point will give you 5%. 2 points will give you normally 3 times more bonus. So you can diversify if you want, pick 3 different traits, but two is much better. These are the bad guys. They are more of a wide nation, focusing on expansion and on claims. When they get new population, they're either going to relocate that population, exterminate it, suppress it, enslave it, all sorts of different things that are generally seen as bad. They also have inherent diplomatic negatives, so people are just going to inherently not like them. The good guys, on the other hand, are liked by everybody except for the people who, want to kill people. But yeah, the good guys normally like each other, and the bad guys kind of like the good guys because they have innate diplomatic bonuses. They've also got, some of them have got bonuses that are just good for keeping your borders and not going to war. So they're really good for tall empires. The not robots are focusing on techs and robots. You're going to want to be going hard after the late game. And robots are almost a necessity. You're going to find that if you don't go robots, you're going to be at a disadvantage. The secondary trait, your number 2 pot or your another 2 pick is going to be the one that kind of dictates whether you're going to go wide or tall. Gestalt is a game of its own. We're going to be talking more about that as we go into the other areas. So let's jump into, for example, government. Democratic governments have elections every 10 years. You're given missions that if you complete them, you'll get a bunch of unity. It's really nice. The missions are normally something like build X number of mining or science stations. Oligarchies are also hold elections, but they have them every 20 years. They have an agenda instead, and the agendas are something like 5% more energy or something like that. They can be kind of useless at times. They can be very useful at times, and the problem is that getting rid of your leader is very, very difficult. And speaking of getting rid of a difficult leader, we have dictators and despots. They rule for life. You can't get rid of them until they die. And killing people, and this isn't like CK2 where you can just knock over a leader. It's kind of difficult. They have agendas as well, same thing as oligarchies. Going into the Gestalt, the 2 Gestalt governments, the first one is AI. You build your main population using minerals, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. You're dependent on your civics to get into what kind of AI you are, and the same thing goes for the Hivemind. The Hivemind, you have a single population type, but this is kind of a standard organic where they're grown through food. You subspecialize again, like I said, in civics. Let's talk about civics. Civics are ethics and authority based. For example, if you want to be a machine race that annihilates all people, you can't do that as an organic. There's an organic type that kills all people, but the machine type, you can only do it if you're a machine AI. A few are game changing. The ones that are game changing often have huge tooltips that you can read on your own. They pretty much tell you how to do everything, so you don't need me to drone on about it. The next one is some will give you secondary population, which we'll be going over more in detail in just a little bit. Speaking of population, here is the we're gonna go over species next. The species is up top, and if you see, I'm going over species instead of syncretic species underneath. This is your main population. This is the population that's quote unquote in charge. You're going to be growing these through food if they're organic. You're going to have to decide when they're strong. And if you want to know more about, how the resources work and when is something strong and when is it weak, you can watch my 6-minute video on resources. Robotic mains are customizable through the game, so it's important to know that this is the species that will be on your planet initially, and so you want to make sure that they don't have things like faster build times or cheaper to build, because they're already built for you. You can change them as soon as you start the game. You can create a new type of robot that is cheaper to build or easier to maintain or blah blah blah. And so just realize that's your starting population, and they're completely replaceable, meaning you can like kill them and then like disassemble them and put better ones on. So okay, this is the organic sub. You're gonna have to manually move these unless you want to like have the population that be your colony ship being your sub, and then your main population come out. Like it's a lot of micro intensive. It's not a thing for me. Okay, last thing is the machine sub. The advantage of this is that your sector AI will build these. They use minerals, and they are much easier to kind of have as a secondary population. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.